You're listening to the Sean Dillingham podcast.
Okay, this is listen, I've done so many of these. I think this is up to number 4. If I remember correctly. The Sean Dillingham podcast, the one, the only. Yes, I'm here. Listen, no, don't let your eyes deceive you. This is not tech support. This is Patrick Ball. This is 12-year-old looking Patrick Ball, cinematographer, director extraordinaire, with the scenic wall art behind you. And I have the lovely prison gray. I look like I'm coming to you live from county lockup. Here we are.
What a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
And thank you. Introduce yourself to everybody. This is like the most straight edge looking Patrick I've ever seen.
Clean cut looking.
Normally you look like all right, Sean, here's what we're gonna do today.
Yeah, Sean. No, you caught me at home. You caught me. I mean, it's a Saturday right now. So
all right, so Patrick Ball, I know who you are. I know what you've done. Tell the audience, introduce. This is your time. Tell them who you are.
Well, I mean, I've worked with you, Sean, in the past. I'm a director, I'm a writer. I do a lot of producing too. Really, my forte is writing and producing my own stuff, and I really enjoy directing too. I've got some experience with that, and that's about it for me. I live here in Arizona. That's where I call home.
Up in Prescott.
Up north.
And I was never sure because people always correct you. Is it Prescott or is it Prescott?
It's Prescott.
And I said, keep going. And I'm just going to keep calling. I'm going to call her Prescott just to piss you off.
You get like judged heavily too when you call it Prescott, even though that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
But so it doesn't make much sense. But people judge you. They're like, this guy's not from around here. He said Prescott. It's like, who decided it's Prescott?
A bunch of cowboys, bunch of pissed off cowboys. That's who.
It was probably an accent. It was probably just a draw they had in their voice. They were trying to say Prescott, but yeah, Prescott.
It's Prescott like biscuit. It's Prescott.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's right.
So your forte is would you say it was westerns? Because I know that's what you've worked on. That's what you and I have worked on.
Yeah, I think that's what I get most of my notoriety for is the western work I do. When I moved out to Arizona, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great, opportunity to start doing westerns and horses and, beautiful country. Arizona's got the best landscape. I have dabbled in other stuff. I mean, really, I'm kind of shifting. Honestly, I think here in the future, I'm going to have more of a reputation for comedy than westerns. But right now, it's like, yes, I love that. I love that genre. I spent half my life up on a horse and working at ranches. And, so that aspect of life, bleeds into my work. And I think because of that, people ask me to work on their stuff too. Like, okay, Patrick knows about the insurance that comes with horses and, what to do and what not to do around horses. And safety is always my number one concern when it comes to horses.
Oh, yeah.
Horseback riding.
I've done about a dozen Western projects or so. I'm getting ready to do another one. I'm going up in late October to San Francisco to shoot a film. And I've always, bullwhip, gunspin, you bet. Getting on a horse,
I've seen you do it.
Yeah,
I've seen you do it. You can do
it. I can sit on the horsey. I did a Legends and Lies for Fox, and I was Sheriff Brady, the guy that Billy the Kid kills first, and they put me on a horse. And I'm first of all, I've already got about 30 pounds of Western outfit on me, this leather duster and hat and boots and everything. And I'm holding this 10-pound prop shotgun and I'm on this horse. And the director says, okay, now here's what I want you to do, which, by the way, nothing good ever follows that. Here's what I want you to do. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, all right, what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you gallop into town. And I'm gonna have you bring the horse just to a screeching halt in front of the sheriff's office, jump off the horse, and go into the sheriff's office. Okay. And I said, question, are you serious? Because I can sit on the horsey and I can get off the horse, but all that other stuff that's not happening. Not with me. No way. So kudos to you. I know when we worked, that's a whole lot of animal underneath you.
We gave you a big horse too. That was a tall horse. I remember, I don't remember how tall it was, like 15 and a half, 16 hands, but
I was way up there, and you're like, you're in charge. I'm like, tell him that. No way I'm in charge.
The ground is far away when you're up there. But at the same time, I think sitting in the saddle is the best seat in the world. It's once you get comfortable, it's a lot of fun. But there's so many elements at play that it always freaks me out. It always makes me nervous. Anytime there's horseback riding, and something a lot of actors do to me is like, oh, can you ride a horse? And everybody says yes.
Yeah. And then they get on set and they go,
and you go,
wow, that's a big dog.
Well, that's why I had you come up and we did some riding because I was like, well, let's make sure they're not terrified at least. And some people you get them up there and they go, and you know that they lied to you flat out. They have not ridden a horse.
You can tell.
They rode like a pony at the fair, when they were a kid. Yes. And it makes me nervous. It's kind of like sticking somebody who can't ride. It's like sticking a kid behind a steering wheel and saying, yeah, this is how you drive a car. It's like,
but you know what?
Teach them, but
Patrick, there is so much. You told me, I had no idea there was so much involved. Like if you squeeze your legs, it means one thing. If you push forward with your feet, it's another. I had no idea. I was just like, I thought it was all, that was it. Let's go.
Let's go. Just push a button.
I had a horse handler yell at me one time because I always thought, like, if you want the horse to go left, you pull the rein left. If you want him to go right, pull it right. And he yelled at me and he was like, stop hurting my horse's mouth. You're pulling on that bit. You want him to go right, you take the left rein, put it across his neck, and you turn his head that way. And I was like, sir, this is about my third time on a horse. So, I'm sorry, Clint. I didn't know. Okay.
I think it's always, yeah. No, I think it's a good skill to learn, though, if you're an actor. I mean, the more experience you have, because you don't want to lose any opportunities. Can you ride a horse? Everybody says yes. But it's like you really want to show up and feel comfortable in the saddle. So it's like, you don't ever want to lose a role just because you're like, man, I really wish I would have started, a year back, going out and doing riding lessons. Did you ever do riding lessons between?
I've taken a couple, not enough where I would say I'm not even intermediate yet. Intermediate, I can walk, I can trot a little,
a little,
but I'm not one of those guys that I'm like, well, I'm taking command of this horsey. I'm just like, go, make it stop. So
you did really good though.
Acting,
you did.
See the shirt?
Acting, look at that.
Subtle. Yeah, it was all phony baloney, man. When you said cut, I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Get me out of this.
Feet back on the ground. Yeah, I know. I've been on some scary horses, and you're like, I cannot wait to be back on the ground. But Cowboy was a good horse, though. I mean, you guys took care of each other. I anticipated being nervous the day of the shoot, but I really wasn't. Those scenes turned out hysterical.
Yeah.
Those are some of my favorite. I mean, I love you singing in the canyon.
Yeah.
And that scene where you're at the top of the canyon and the horse runs off and leaves you stranded.
Shooting my foot. Yeah. So what we're talking about, for those that don't know, is Patrick did a series that I got to be in. Tell them about that.
So we have Horse Camp. It took us, we started this, it's a cowboy comedy. I think it's hysterical. Everybody who sends the script to usually reads the script, jumps right on board, says, I can't wait to do this. I said, I wrote that part with you in mind.
Thank you.
I was like, I think that, Cow Boss is the character's name for the audience at home. But I was like, I want a cow boss. I want the ranch owner. I want a comedian. I want somebody who is savvy in the genre of comedy and who does stand up, and someone who can do improv. And so I was like, okay, I'm writing this for Sean Dillingham. I hope he says yes. So fortunately you did. And
that's not an easy genre, comedy. That's tough to pull off on film.
It is. You really, I honestly do think that we did a great job with it, but it's because the trick is, obviously have your my strategy was like, okay, obviously have a funny storyline and funny follow through and funny conflicts, but I was like, I need to find comedians. Like, the funnier, the better. That's what's going to make this work. And, I give you guys credit a lot for that. Whenever people say, that was so funny, I'm like, well, I brought some hysterical people on board.
Yeah, but you know
So
what?
you being one,
That's sure, but you know what? The technical aspect that people don't understand. Generally, when you shoot comedies, it has to be very bright, pretty footage, which it was. It was shot amazing. The editing, there's a tempo and a pacing that if it's not there, you're not going to get funny. You're going to either go, well, that take was too long, or oh, they cut it too short. So kudos to you on that because it came out great, and not just one episode, but all of them.
no, thank you. I mean, I'm really proud of it. I love Horse Camp. That is really my bread and butter. And we're moving into season 2 now. It's available on Amazon for people at home if you want to go check it out.
And I'm putting all this on the screen. I'm going to put up shots of it and links and all that.
Yeah, put you on the horse, and God, yeah, I love that scene. I mean, you've got some really great scenes in
season 2. Cow Boss is horseless.
Yeah. You want me to write another one with you on a horse?
He just gets the bike.
We put you on a little bike with training wheels or something like that. That's quite the downgrade. Yeah, that's not as much fun.
So that's on Amazon. You can get it and watch it. Fantastic shit. It's funny, so funny. You guys will get a kick out of it. And you're getting ready to go into season 2?
We're prepping season 2 right now. It's one of those, at first we started production. COVID hit, everything shut down. We had to cancel. Yeah, it was just like everything else in the world. But we had if you remember, we started maybe like February 2020.
Yeah.
And then, so we were a month into production, halfway done, and the shutdowns happened. And so I was in a situation where I was like, I talked to all the investors and they were like, we understand. But then the door opened to keep going. And we did. We came back and we finished the show. Yeah, I had my out, but I loved the show way too much. I was like, let's get going on. Let's pick up where we left off. So when you watch the show, like half of it is filmed a year apart.
You're like, everybody's different.
We somehow pulled it off. That was kind of tricky to go back. Okay, we only filmed half of that scene, and didn't even touch base on that scene. And so, but I got a great team, and they scheduled it out really well. So, and now we're moving into season 2, and we're coming back bigger and better. And so that's why we haven't started production yet. We're still in pre-production development.
Right there. That's your bigger, better, bosser.
Bosser. Cow Boss's face right there.
Welcome to the country.
I love that. You got to show if you actually do cutaways. I love the ones where the improv scene between you and Wes.
Yeah.
Which ended up becoming the tagline for the show, the Welcome to the Country.
Yeah,
you said that improv. That was an improv line.
It was so funny just watching him go off, just standing next to him. All I had to do was react. He was like, I want to take my ex-woman to bury her in a hill of ants, cover her in honey. And that's what I want to do. And I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, you look like utterly disturbed. That was like one of those times where like, it's just basic dialogue, but I was like, you two together, let's see what comes out of this. And we did so many takes, but yeah, you improv the line, welcome to the country, which was perfect and spot on.
Yeah.
And now that's the catchphrase for the show.
So going back, what was your start? Did you do short films, student films when you were younger? Did you go to film school? How did it all begin for you?
To wrap it all up, I really like photography and writing and music and theater and all these things that when you combine it together you have filmmaking. So I kind of at one point I want to be a musician, then a writer, and then a photographer. So I'm like, if I get into film, I get to exercise all of these trade skills I've been learning as a kid. And then so that's where my interest was piqued. And then I went to film school. And that's where I met back in Indiana, and that's where I met most of my team I still work with today. That was the perk of film school. Was like, okay, I learned some of the technical aspects and took writing classes and stuff like that. But really, why film school was so beneficial to me was because my team. That's where I built my team. We worked, and we did short films and class projects, which all were we were young kids at the time. None of them were. Some of them were really funny, but a lot of my actors, a lot of the people I wrote into Horse Camp were acting friends from college who I'm like, these people are so talented. I can't wait to work with them one day. Yeah. And then when I wrote Horse Camp, I got to bring everybody back into the picture. But yeah, my team, I mean, after film school, a lot of my team, I headed out west and they followed me out here, fortunately. So we stuck together and so that's really it. I was always kind of trying to lead the way of like, okay, let's go make another movie. Let's get involved in this movie. And then I had my team to back me up who is really talented and we've worked together so long that
I think that's a good point too, because a lot of people think that, I'm going to go through school and then I'm going to go off to this imaginary place and start working with all these fabulous people. And the fact of the matter is you've trained with people that have these skills. You already have that team. You've already made the contact. Start creating content.
Yeah. Whenever you move into a production, you want to have your team with you. You don't really want to be kind of testing the waters with people. It's like, well, I know that this works and this person can read my mind. So she'll be really good working, I say she, I'm talking about like Marissa and Sarah. But right. Because at this point they read my mind. They were on set and they know, okay, I've known Patrick for, over a decade. I know what he's thinking. I know what he wants. Let's anticipate that. And that makes my life so much easier. It just makes production so much easier. So that's kind of the perk of, if you're listening to this and you're a young student in film school, this is really the time to be making connections more than anything, because you don't know where they're going to go. They may end up being the next, Steven Spielberg. You want to be, brought into their web of projects.
Yeah. Connections and networking. Absolutely. You think it's easier for filmmakers nowadays? I mean, yeah. I look at it and think, my God, with TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and social media, the opportunity to create something and get it out is way bigger than, I remember starting acting in the 80s when I'm taking manila envelopes and videotapes to the post office, praying somebody watches it. Now it's like self-tape, whoop, send it, boom, done. And the fact that you have such mass media at your fingertips, I would think it would be more enticing for filmmakers.
Yeah, that's got to be wild thinking back of like the pressure of like putting a VHS tape in the mail and being like, my job is counting on it getting there and into the right hands. That probably changed for you pretty quick. Did like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can just have an iPhone. And
I love that. I tell people I have 7 agents and they're like, why? And I'm like, because we live in the age of self-tapes and I'm willing to get into a car or get on a plane and go. That's why, because they're submitting me left and right. I mean, I remember back in the day, I had a couple of close calls with my videotapes. It was stand up and it was commercials that I had done at that point. I remember sending one was, I was doing stand up at the Hollywood Improv and the manager, her name was Julie. And I performed on Saturday and I got back and on Monday, I had a message to call from a Julie at the Hollywood Improv. And I was like, oh, they love me. And so I called and they go, NBC, Julie Pernwer's office. And I go, wait, where did I reach? And they said, this is NBC. And I go, is there a Julie? Yeah, I go, wait, hold on. Who is she? Oh, she's the vice president of casting. Hold on a second. Yeah, I did the same look. Oh, God, what did I do?
Yeah.
She picked up the phone. She knew me. She goes, hi, Sean. My Julie, I just wanted you to know I was in the audience at the Improv on Saturday. I saw you. I thought you were hilarious. And whenever you're out here again, let me know. I'd love to set up a meeting. I'm like, I'll be there next week, as a matter of fact, which I wasn't, but I got in the car. I sat down for 45 minutes with her, and I didn't know what having a meeting was. So I showed up with a suit and I was like, if hired, I will take appropriate breaks and I will be early and prompt on time. And nothing came of it. And I was like, that was odd. And about a week later, I called her and I said, what was that meeting about? I'm confused. And she said, oh, I was so disappointed in our meeting. And I was like, oh, great. And I said, I don't understand. She goes, I wanted to see that guy that I saw on stage. And I go, well, I didn't know I was supposed to come in and start flipping tables over and shit. And she goes, but if you're ever here, I'll come see you. I go, were you just, and I should have just said goodbye at that point. I should have just let it go. But I asked, I said, were you looking at me for anything in particular? And she said, yeah, I had I had a role on Third Rock from the Sun that I was looking at you for, and I was like,
no.
okay, thank you.
Oh no.
I should have just let it go. Another
That's
one,
haunting.
yeah, and that eats me alive. Another one, years ago, I took a videotape, manila envelope, and that's when In Living Color was on TV still.
Yeah.
I sent it in. A week later, I get a phone call message. This is so and so, and I call back, and she said, "This is Lydia. I'm with casting for In Living Color. We got your tape. We thought you were absolutely hilarious, and this season has been cast. So we're looking at you for next season, but we're actually working on a spinoff show that we'd like to consider you for. So we're going to get back with you in like a week. I think that subsequently became Mad TV, and I was like, sell the house. I'm going to tell my boss what I think of him, and I'm out of here." And nothing happened. So 3 weeks later, I call back. I go, "What's the word?" "Oh yeah, the producers with the money fell through. It's on hiatus." And I was just like this.
That's the business, man.
Close, but no cigar. I talked.
Yeah. You would have been great on those shows, though. You would have been amazing. I can see you. I could see you on In Living Color.
I appreciate that. I
really could.
But you know what? I think Third Rock, I would, yeah, but In Living Color, I was like 23, 24, too young at the time. And I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been ready. Now I'm like, okay, I got experience. I got foresight as an adult. I got some experience under my wings. Yeah. But then,
yeah, they'd be lucky to have you. I mean, but sometimes things that's how they're supposed to work out. But
yeah,
they, but still, don't be. That's haunting, though. Finding out that it was for. Did you say it was Third Rock from the Sun or
Third Rock from the Sun? With
yeah,
yeah,
and that was a good show.
I should have just said goodbye.
Yeah, now you know. But
I had another one, man. You know, sometimes for me, it's, and I don't know if that's the same way for you. I really take pride in some of the roles that I've got to audition for. I talked in another podcast about I had the opportunity to audition for Vice with Christian Bale, Sam Rockwell, Steve Carell, all these, and I auditioned for the role of Rush Limbaugh, and I had the voice down, but I'm 5'8". Rush Limbaugh is like 6'2", or he was. And but I went in there, and I mean, I was like, "Love is the only human emotion that you can buy. We'll be back in 2 and 2."
Nailed it.
I just boom and whatever. But I take pride in the fact that you get to audition for those things.
It's always an experience. I mean, you got to be ready for, I don't want to say rejection, but rejection in this game. I mean, you just have to. You have to have really thick skin for it. You got to be able to laugh about it later on a podcast. You really do, because it'll break some people.
Oh, yeah.
The rejection in this game.
The fact that I got to learn early on that there is so much out of your control that you can't take it personally. I auditioned once for a PlayStation. This is going to date me. PlayStation commercial for Crash Bandicoot.
Oh my God.
And they were like, "We're looking for like a short kind of George Costanza kind of," and I was like, "Tell him I'm on my way." And I went out there, and let me tell you something. I walked into this casting office in LA, Patrick, and it looked like a fucking cloning machine. There were 300 guys there. Looked like, I was just like, "Oh my God, what?" They took us in 10 at a time with numbers, and we all stand against the wall. Number 5. Step forward and say your name. "Hi, Sean." Say the line. "Holy cow, Crash Bandicoot." Step back. It was just a cattle call. And
yeah, it was.
Never got anything, never heard back. Then I saw the commercial, and the actor they chose was like 6'4", young, thin, big head of hair. And all I thought was probably the director's son.
Brought all those people in.
Yeah,
brought all those people in.
Got every short little guy with glasses, George Costanza, and this is who they go with. Okay, so you got to learn. It's not personal. There's so much out of your control. We're looking for somebody tall, short, fat, thin, young, old. I mean, it's just all you can do is go in and just go, "This is what I can do. This is what I can do."
I'm sure a lot of talent gets passed up all the time. I mean, our casting processes are pretty extensive, you know, like we've got our whole procedures we go through every single time, and I guarantee I've turned down some really talented people without even knowing it.
And,
where it's just
like what we experienced on Horse Camp. Sometimes some actors fall out. They don't work out. Maybe there's not on screen, but off screen, there's a clash of personalities. And it's just like, yeah, that's not going to work.
That's why you really want to be, nothing's worse than trying to like replace somebody mid shoot or having to fire someone, or just to have the conversation of like, look, like you're awesome, but you're not perfect. So that's why you really want to be sure you've got the right person when you get started. When that ship sails, you better make sure you got the perfect team, because there's no going back really. It's painful when you have to turn around and go back to shore because you forgot something or you got to change something. And casting's stressful is my point.
Yeah.
You gotta there's just so many, and then you you have to finally stop second guessing yourself and be like, look, this is our decision and this is what we're gonna do. And you meet a lot of talented people though through casting. You may say you're not right for this, but I've got something that's perfect for you.
Yeah.
Or like you have them in the back of your mind the next time you're doing casting or a new character. That's the fun thing about Horse Camp, is we have so many characters that it's a big entourage of ensemble cast, but we're constantly writing new characters too. So casting's like we're constantly casting.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm putting links up there, clips, everything else, and people are going to find it. So I hope you get more views and more people following it and watching it. Any advice? Because we're just about done. It was that fast, that quick. Any advice for young filmmakers, young actors?
Oh, I mean, it kind of goes back to make sure you surround yourself with the right people. Like I mentioned earlier, I have my team. I love my team. It's that's really the best asset you can have, besides just like experience and talent, is surround yourself with the right people. I'm constantly trying to include the right people into my circle, and that's really that's part of the trick, in my opinion, is I guess, no matter what you're trying to do, you got to surround yourself with the right people. Somebody who, a group that has the same trait as you. Like, so, hang out, if you're an actor, hang out with other talented actors, hang out with people who are trying to do it. If you're a director, hang out with actors, hang out with other producers. And
it's tough. A lot of people don't understand that, the toughest part sometimes is, you're working with anywhere from maybe 10 or 15 people to crew. I've been on crews as big as 150. And the challenge is you've got to get all those people, whether it's 15, 75, or 150, everybody's got to get on the same page of sharing your vision to make this happen. And sometimes a lot of people, well, no, and I've seen people from, makeup, wardrobe, maybe they don't share the same vision. But I would think, getting a good team together and people that share that same vision to make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, that's, if you're doing a comedy, meet a bunch of comedians. If somebody makes you laugh, like, you find somebody hysterical and you see the magic in them, cling on to them. That's kind of what you need to do. Because then when, the project starts, you want to be surrounded by the most talented people you can find. And that just applies to directors, actors, comedians. You want to be surrounded by the people who have the same goal as you. And I mean, I got tons of advice, but that's really that's what I found to be the most important.
You got to have a team. Without a team, you're just going
to work hard
with the dream. Work hard, see it through.
A lot of people do quit in this industry. They're like, well, this is a hard industry. You're like, bet your ass it is.
What?
And so don't quit. You really got a good shot if you have a hard head and you stay determined and focused, and live every day in alignment with your goals. If your goal is to be an actor, stick to that every single day.
Yep.
Don't flake. And that would be my words of advice.
Any websites, social media, anything you want to pimp before we wrap it up? Because I'm going to be putting, like I said, pictures and links for Amazon, Horse Camp. Make sure you watch it, you follow it, the whole spiel. Any other sites?
Just, we have my company's name, Patrick Ball Media. Everything.
Patrick Ball Media.
Yes, very original. It's just named after, my birth name. So it's pretty easy to remember. PatrickBallMedia.com, Patrick Ball Media on Instagram, Facebook /Patrick Ball Media. And it's the same with Horse Camp, Instagram, Horse Camp TV, is usually the tag we use. You can search Horse Camp TV on a hashtag and you'll find all our stuff. And that's the show's available on Prime Video. So you can watch it there.
Amazon Video. Patrick Ball Media. Follow him, follow the website, find it on social media. And Patrick, you've been awesome. And I'm going to pimp the hell out of it.
Thank you.
Follow it and watch. It's going to be everywhere, my man.
I appreciate it. I love the idea. I love that you're doing a podcast. I love it. I think you're great at this. You're perfect for this. So I was real happy to hear this.
We're going to have probably tens of people are listening to this.
People. Wow.
Patrick Ball, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Ball. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for listening to the Sean Dillingham podcast. For more information or questions, you can always visit www.seandillingham.com.